Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here with you, calling the shots for you as always, and we are once again returning to the war-torn desert settlement that is Siwal Frontier. We've got two great players here for you tonight. We've got a returning player, someone who took quite a long little vacation here from Dawn of War, but a very excellent player, Mr. Wurgl, on the red side as the Lictor Alpha, our sneaky, cloaking, menacing little hero right there for the Tyrannid army. And then, who was featured last episode, and of course with a different suffix, once again we've got Asmon as the Force Commander for the Space Marine army. So we know the map, we know these two armies, we're going to roll right into it with these two very disparate forces. Of course we've got the very relatable Space Marine army, and then the very alien Tyrannids. So what we'll probably be seeing from Wurgl is kind of the standard double Termagon, if I were to guess. Always good to have extra scouts, so I'm sure we'll see at least one extra scout from Asmon. Obviously, we've seen lots of triple scout action from Space Marine against Tyrannid armies for that extra map control and kind of that extra utility to keep melee at bay. Have those grenades to kind of get Termagants out of there and such like that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't normally, personally, like Assault Space Marines against Tyrannid, as they tend to just get swamped by powerful melee squads and things like that, but in conjunction with the Force Commander, Assault Marines can be a pretty solid build. So Wurgl sending two of his squads, both his Termagants, keeping his Lictor within range to help them out and sending his Hormagaunts down bottom. Hormagaunts are going to cap the bottom VP and then probably start harassing power. So anyways, up top we've got the Termagants pouring some fire into the Force Commander. Asmon wanted to get that contested power node nice and quickly, and now that he's got a second scout squad, he's going to turn and engage. That's pretty much how you want to play it as Space Marine. Keep your forces together, especially against Tyrannid in the early game, and just make sure you can push one or two of those squads off the field, and then make a concentrated grasp for map control. Lictor Alpha moving in on the scouts, already upgraded with shotguns. They're going to use that shotgun blast right here most likely. Unfortunately, the Force Commander had already knocked him down, so it didn't really work out too well for him. One scout escapes as the Force Commander and Lictor Alpha engage each other. Oh, and a Flesh Hook actually finishes him off. I thought that scout was actually high enough HP to survive a Flesh Hook, but apparently not. Down goes an early loss there. Scout squad. Lictor might go down, though, instead and make this a win for Asmon and turn that first engagement around, but it looks like he's barely getting away with 30 HP heading into later on right here. Hormagaunts did, in fact, go over and start hitting the power. Hormagaunts generally move separately from the Tyrannid army unless you're going for like a double Horma build, and even then one of the squads is used for a capping squad, kind of like when you see double scouts. You'll see one squad get upgraded, one squad used primarily for capping. That power node's probably going to go down. Might be able to save it as, yeah, the Termagants changed targets to the Tactical Marines. He should have tried to finish off that power node. That would have been a nice extra 125 wreck down the drain, and also stalled out Asmon's tech a little bit if you so choose. Scouts getting another upgrade over here. Sergeant on the field, going to bring a grenade into play. Here goes the toss, and it's actually a fake out. Goes for the Termagants, but Wurgl reacts quickly and dodges it. Hormagaunts dancing around a little bit, choosing to engage those Tactical Marines while the rest of Wurgl's forces start grabbing back some map. VPs are pretty well even. Hormagaunts have to get out of there, though. They're going to go down if he's not careful. They're very low. A couple more shots. It looks like... Oh, as I was about to say, looks like they're going to get away, but I have been wrong on that one. Asmon spending a lot of power on his scouts right here. Finally dropping a couple generators. Wurgl would have been in the lead here, I feel like, with power, but he's spent a bit already. He's upgraded one of his Termagants, gotten himself some warriors, and only has a single generator himself. He does have both of the contested power nodes, which is going to be putting the tech a little bit in his favor, but he needs to fill out his power farm. Asmon brought back his second squad of scouts, obviously. Wurgl looks like he's not going to worry about getting those Hormagaunts back, going instead for the Ravener Brood, which is a bit more effective here in the Elite mod, I believe. Once again, the Devourer upgrade is in Tier 1. So that's going to make them a major threat for the scouts.
Your brothers stand ready.
Asmon's had to spend quite a bit of wreck. He lost himself a tactical marine. He lost a scout squad. Purchased the squad back, reinforced everything. Very fortunate that Wurgl left that power node up.
They have us targeted,
Termagant's running right into some scouts, looking around to grab some map, and that's one of the great things about upgrading these scout squads like this, especially with the Hormagaunts down, is that they can really kind of sustain themselves on their own and hold some map by themselves against kind of roaming Termagant squads looking to cap map. And here's a little bug. I've actually seen this a few times recently, is look at that scout. He's halfway dead and just laying there bleeding, kind of floating in the air there. I don't know if that has to do with the new unit persistency in the game that's in the 2.10 patch or what. But anyways, we're having a big engagement here in the center. Scouts getting dangerously low once again. Those Raveners need to turn around and chop them up on retreat. I believe a flesh hook already went off. It looks like those scouts very fortunate going to escape that melee on retreat. In the meantime, tactical marines getting focused down. Notice how the tacks are getting torn up by the melee and the Termagants are being used to scare the scouts off and keep them away. Tacticals getting some heavy damage once again. One model going down. Luckily, the Force Commander gets a nice knockdown and probably prevented another model from going down there to maybe another Ravener swing or something along those lines. Looks like this power node's finally going to go down to some Termagants, and they might even go in for the decap. I wouldn't see why not. But the scouts are moving in. They might be able to stop those Termagants from finishing that decap before it goes down. Force Commander finally forces off those Raveners that were running him all over the place. Termagants trying to stay on that power, but I think they're going to need to run away. Scouts do have a grenade. They're going to be able to get that grenade on retreat right here. Looks like it might be a good toss or a bit early, just barely. And those Termagants are going to run home relatively safe. Asmon on the back foot as far as map control right now. Pretty much all the center row right here, the treasure belt as we've come to call it, belonging to Wurgl, and a triple cap against him right now. Despite losing those early Hormagaunts, Wurgl's doing great at map control. Obviously, that's kind of the uphill battle. As I always say with Space Marine versus Tyranids, you just have to struggle to hold your power and not lose too many VPs. Don't have too large a deficit going into Tier 2 and 3, and then you just have to kind of bring it back from there. But it's been a pretty back-and-forth game. I'd say Wurgl's probably a little on the front end as far as wreck bleed and that sort of thing goes. He's managed to pick off a tack or two in every engagement, and then you had that kind of split between Hormagaunts and scouts going down from either side. And you can see this wreck point's been getting decapped. It's only at plus 15 right now, so Wurgl's just been doing a great job of harassing economy and keeping the Space Marine army as split up as possible. Termagant's moving in once again, gonna go for the decap a second time with both players heading into Tier 2. Asmon has plenty of requisition, but he didn't rebuild that node. It looks like he just sent the Termagants expecting the node to be there. They could have decapped that power a while ago, so Wurgl needs to be paying attention to that. Like I said, Wurgl took a bit of a hiatus from Dawn of War 2. I think he went over to play some StarCraft or something along those lines. But he's a very talented player. Might be a bit rusty on his Dow2 micro for the time being, but I'm sure if he decides to stick around, which I hope he does, we'll be seeing some top-notch play from him here shortly. Not to say this game isn't going well for him. He's got almost no VPs off of his own bar and has Asmon down to about half. So Ravener Brood hanging out over here, moving back out on the field, along with those two Termagants. Some pretty powerful range damage. Here goes another Scout Grenade. That one's going to hit a little bit, and only manages to tag one Termagant Brood. A little bit was right, because one little bug in this giant army isn't going to make too much of a difference. Termagant's moving in on the tax. They're going to get the decap, but they're probably going to have to get out of there. As soon as they pull off that point, they're going to take a Toxin Sack. If Asmon is even paying attention at all, he does decide to turn and move, and Raveners are going to move in, but they completely miss the Burrow Strike, expecting this tax to, instead of meleeing, go for the cover. But wow, that's a nice win. Cost Asmon a couple more attacks. Really been bleeding him well. Not able to take out any more squads since that initial scout squad, but taking out tac models is very effective. Unfortunately, he needs to save these Raveners right now. I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, he was typing, saying something about the dev bugging, and it cost him his Ravener squad. Oh my goodness. Yeah, down it goes. Oh dear. Something about his dev bugging on the bottom part of the map. I'm not sure what the deal with that was. But he just lost a very expensive squad. Being kind, trying to tell his opponent that something weird was going on with his Devastator, and it cost him a very expensive squad. Asmon acknowledges it, but all the richer for being able to take out that Ravener. That's going to be a big win, and really probably allow him to get back in the game a little bit here. Unless he loses these scouts, he's going for the decap, and yeah, there he goes. Decides it's better to take the scouts than to get a wreck point decap. Termagants need to run, though. I'm not sure what they're doing. They retreat. It might be, yeah, too late. If he loses both squads right here, it's going to be over. The second squad makes it out with 30 HP. And Wurgl's down to 2 squads. He's in Tier 3 now. He's purchasing some Termagants to get some map back, I guess. But heading into Tier 3, this is not where you want to be against Space Marine. Asmon purchases some Stern Guard veterans for his tactical Marines. Has the Plasma Devastator out here right now as well, which is always very effective against Tyranids. Keeps all that melee at bay. Hits the Termagants nicely as well. And these warriors are way out of position. Even with their adrenal glands, they're not going to be able to take the damage from Stern Guards, 2 Scout Squads, and an incoming Force Commander. But Wurgl was very frugal in Tier 2 overall. Heading into Tier 3, doesn't have much power, but has a good bit of wreck. He'll be able to get himself some nice Tier 3 units on the field relatively shortly. Nice Plasma Dev shot. I'm not sure if the Scouts spotted that or whether that was a blind shot. I think the Scouts did manage to see those Termagants and allow for that. Now the Stern Guards, newly upgraded Stern Guard veterans moving in right here. Lictor's been upgraded with his Deadly Jump and Feeder Tendrils, which will make him a lot nastier. That'll make him pretty tanky, all things considered, and allow him to jump around on Devastators and really be even more mobile than he already is. So despite the atrophy that Wurgl's army has been experiencing here, he's still got plenty of VPs. He's got time to bring this back. He's not in much of a bad position at all. Force Commander's in a lot of trouble, however, though. I think the Flesh Hook already went off, so he's going to get... Oh, but the Deadly Jump is still active, and that last poke from the Feeder Tendrils of the Lictor Alpha. The Lictor Alpha, of course, a gourmand when it comes to eating other species, and Force Commanders are the tastiest. Nice shotgun blast is going to leave that Lictor Alpha out of position. Even with his Feeder Tendrils, he needs to run right now. And I think, oh my gosh, that damage over time on the Stern Guard veterans is just so very powerful. I think this might be the first time Wurgl's played the Elite mod. He may have played it a while ago, but he's certainly not played since Stern Guards have existed, so that probably caught him a bit off guard. Oh, some big friendly fire from that Plasma Devastator, taking out a TAC model right there. Stern Guard goes down to friendly fire, and the rest of the squad is pretty beat up, all things considered. Force Commander pops back up. Wurgl sitting on tons of wreck. Stockpiling, I guess, at this point for a Carnifex? That's got to be what he's going for. Space Marine knows no fear, using those dot bolters right there. I always forget which ones the damage over time bolters are. I really need to make a point to learn the ammo configurations on those Stern Guards. There goes some more attack round, just trying to make sure that VP wasn't getting capped. Asmon really needs to be on top of his map control from here on out. He's down by over 200 VPs still, and that's not where you want to be. Of course, he is heading into Tier 3, a bit behind Wurgl, but if he can head into Tier 3 and hang out for just a little bit, he's going to be able to stick around in this game, because everyone knows the Tier 3 for Space Marine brings Terminators, brings Predators, all the big bad stuff. Of course, the Force Commander becomes a Terminator himself, and Force Commander actually, now that I mentioned that, is completely unequipped, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Asmon is intending to do. Normally when you see a Force Commander completely vanilla at this stage in the game, it's something you want to keep an eye on. That Terminator armor is probably coming. Look at that grenade! Oh my goodness! Killed him in mid-air, right as the jump animation started. The Lictor Alpha got wiped by a scout grenade after getting knocked down by the Force Commander. Activated the battle cry, and then with the knockdown dropped a scout grenade right on his face. Nice little double play. Look at this scout. He's got to be out of blood by now, but I guess he's not. He's just kind of hanging around, hovering in midair. Maybe that's just some sort of blood jetpack that's holding him up. I do not know. Some unknown Space Marine technology there, keeping that scout alive. Scouts hanging out down bottom, getting ambushed by a dual Termagant force right there, and in the meantime, the Carnifex starting to chop up some tactical Marines. Managed to take out a single Stern Guard. Scouts are hanging out behind cover, but their shotguns don't have the range to fire back at those Termagants from that cover. Thornback Carnifex charging in on the Plasma Devastator. Haven't seen Thornbacks too much. More recently, I feel like we've been seeing more of the Barbed Strangler and Venom Cannon effects. Wow. I don't know if that's overkill or not, but Asmon, sensing that he really needs this VP down here, drops an orbital bombardment, takes out one of the Termagant squads, and this lone squad probably isn't even going to be able to tangle with those scouts that are upgraded. And yeah, there's the call. I just heard it. Readying Terminator armor. Force Commander is going to be getting the Terminators right there. Wurgl responds with a nuke of his own, but doesn't go anywhere near those scouts. Termagant's trying to do some damage. Managed to delay those scouts from getting the cap, but they're going to go down and claim it for themselves. In the meantime, up top, we've got scouts getting a decap on the natural wreck point over there. Both players trying as desperately as they can to bleed each other out. Wurgl is actually in a great position as far as requisition earlier on, but after taking 2 Lictor Alpha hero losses in a row, it really hurt his potential army size. So he's still struggling to stay on, and we're seeing a Tyrant Guard here, which is actually pretty interesting choice. I guess what he's going for is he recognizes that there's really no AV on the field, nothing that can deal with this, and it's a cheap, durable vehicle that can stay on the field and maybe help him hold map. At this point, he can go for a VP win pretty easily. All he has to do is continue to push the Space Marines off the map here and there. Really, the only durable forces that are staying on the field that can fight are these Stern Guards and the Force Commander right now. Of course, the Terminator Force Commander is notoriously tanky, can both deal out the DPS and take tons and tons of damage. Actually going to be able to probably deal with this Carnifex, which is now charging again into the Stern Guards. He's managed to take out 2 of them, maybe take out the last one, or the last 2 rather. There's one more that has to retreat, and it's got 20 HP left.
Support structure complete. The enemy is claiming a victory point.
In the meantime, Scout Explosion goes off up top. That was actually lots. I saw a weird bug with the effects right there. The smoke went off kind of everywhere. Some Spore Mines in front of Asmon's base, maybe trying to take out those Stern Guards, which barely survived. Asmon not going to have the requisition for Terminators anytime soon, and after using that orbital bombardment, we're not going to be seeing a Terminator squad either. Carnifex is trying desperately to get away from the pursuing Force Commander, who's looking pretty nasty in that Terminator armor. 145 to 205 though. Asmon's just about evened it out, but it's a 2-0 cap against him, and if he doesn't get the map back very shortly, it's going to be all over. It's about to turn into a 3 cap as the Force Commander starts retreating from some Warrior Broods. I think Asmon's just going to try to tank in there and keep everything off the field that he can, with his Tyrant Guard hanging out down bottom. He's going to need to commit, well, I don't even know what he can commit at this point to take that out. Here comes a Predator. That'll be able to eliminate that Tyrant Guard, but none of his infantry can deal with that. He can send the Force Commander down, but even he will take a long time to take out that Tyrant Guard on his own. So, I guess that's what Wurgl's playing. He's just playing the numbers game. He knows Asmon can't afford to be spreading out his forces. He can't send a lone scout squad down there. Even if he sent 2 or the Stern Guards, he'd have to send both the Stern Guards and the Force Commander to take it out quickly. Asmon is concerned that he may have saw another Carnifex, and that he's incorrect on that, but he's not far off because the second one is coming onto the field here momentarily. Wurgl's Lictor Alpha getting ready to roll back out with a nice melee force here. There's a Predator on the field here, though, and it's going to make a big difference, I think, as far as anti-vehicle goes, and that's really all that Wurgl has right now. The second Fex is on the field, though, and he's going to be able to get a Venom... No, he's actually immediately upgrading that to Thornback once again. That might be a mistake against this Predator. You really want a Venom Cannon to kind of help deal with tanks at all. So these two Carnifexes are really going to have to try to flank this tank. Arguably, there's only 83 victory points left, so all he has to do is try to push off the infantry wherever he can. Lictor once again falls to those Stern Guard veterans and their nasty, nasty bolters. Those ammo configurations so very effective against various targets. They were using that damage over time on the hero, now switching, I think, trying to get those AV bolters going. Right now, the Carnifex is just trying to prevent that Force Commander from getting anywhere near the other one, while the second one's taking some heavy fire from the now upgraded las cannon on that Predator. It's unfortunately trying to target those Rippers and then targeting the far Carnifex. He needs to focus down this one. That Carnifex might get out of there because that tank's just not shooting the right stuff. Second Carnifex tossing Stern Guards all over the place. Not even going to chomp them up. Throws them aside. Not very hungry today. 77 to 174, however. Something went down here and got a cap, but it didn't do too much. Plasma Devastator goes down. Way back here. Predator manages to not take out either of those Carnifexes right now. And now it has the unfortunate situation of having a Carnifex behind it once again. Even with the charge, however, though, that Predator is going to be able to kite around this Carnifex. It's moving in for the kill, but I don't actually think it's going to be able to get it. He realizes that, pulls it back. But Asmon still needs to get some map. He's been unable to stick around. Spire going up right there, just even trying to stall any little bit he can. 44 to 174. This Carnifex goes down. Wurgl knows he's going to be in trouble. He's got no Termagants left. He's only got the Warriors and his Lictor to cap it all. And the Lictor goes down just before he gets the cap on that central VP. 24 to 174. Tacs are going to get the cap here up top. Or no, the Scouts didn't cap the central VP. They went back to repair the Predator. Oh my goodness, that may have just cost Asmon the game. He wasn't paying attention, or he didn't shift-click the repair. But the VPs are ticking down after that excellent win. Oh my goodness. Oh, and Asmon realizes at the last second. Oh my goodness. That he kind of threw the game right there. I think if the Scouts had stayed on there, yeah, the Tacs were seconds away from evening out the VPs right there. I think if the Scouts had stayed on that VP, they would have gotten the cap in time. But wow, that's a win for Wurgl, just barely too. You can see there's just not much left. He would have been able to bring out another Carnifex or maybe a Lictor. But that Laspred, really what Wurgl needed to do was just get that Venom Cannon Carnifex. But considering how much he lost, and he still managed to pull that game out, very nice play. A little rusty from Wurgl, and very solid from Asmon either way. But great to see another player back in the fold. And man, look at that nice Terminator Force Commander model in the Elite mod. Look how shiny he looks. Awesome helmet, nice and spiky on top. And standing there stoically with his flamer. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. Feel free to comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I always appreciate it. Feel free to stop by my Facebook, Steam group, Twitter, all the fun social media stuff. I do it all. Follow me any way you like. This is Red-Rupee. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.